Okay, so we now have a plan from Codex on what it needs from us and how it's going to go about doing this. Okay, so it's created this file, which we will look at in a moment, but I just want to read this summary first. So it wants us to go to Google Cloud Console, enable Google Sheets API, enable Google Drive API, and create a service account. Okay, then at a JSON key, copy these details. Okay, that's fine. Now, I may not even do all of that. I might just go and create the Google Sheet and then give anybody who has the link access to that Google Sheet, and then just give Codex the link to the Google Sheet, and I'll ask if that's going to be easier. So we'll see that. Now, here I also define the Google Sheets tabs and column structure, okay, and that's all detailed in the setup.file, which we'll look at. And next it's saying it's going to create all the different details. All right, so it's also created a .env example file, which I asked it to do. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Let's bring this down a bit. So these are the things that we have to provide Codex, right? So it wants to know, so that's okay, it's filling that. This is the model it's going to use. If you remember, we are going to send the customer inquiries to an AI to extract the details. So we need to provide the OpenAI key. Now we're going to put all of that in this .env local file. This is example file telling us what we need to put in to the .env local file, okay, which will be a copy of the example file, but we've got to put in the API key. We need to put in the Twilio details and the SendGrid API key, okay? So we need to put in our OpenAI API key. Because we're using Twilio as the provider to send out SMSs, we will need to create a Twilio account and put in these details. Now, I already use Twilio because I do this for clients all the time. So I already have an API key. I already have an API key for OpenAI as well. I'm sure you would too. I also have an API key for SendGrid because I send a lot of emails for clients, okay? And I set this up for clients all the time. So if you don't have accounts with SendGrid or Twilio, then just ask ChatGPT how to create an account, and ChatGPT will guide you, okay? Because we need providers to send out SMSs from our agent. We need a provider to send out emails from our agent. You can also, for emails, hook in your Gmail account. Just ask ChatGPT how to do that, and ChatGPT will let you know. Or just tell Codex, you're going to be using Gmail, okay? But you do need something to send out SMSs. Or if you don't want to send out SMSs, you can just send out emails, okay? But in this case, we're using SMS as a channel to allow customers to reach the client, as well as WhatsApp and a web form. But in this example, I'm only going to create an SMS agent because the rest is almost the same. It's just integration with those other channels, okay? Now, we need to have a database. Now, I have chosen to use Supabase because that's what I use for all of my apps. So I need to provide details on how the agent will connect to the database. And then obviously, Google Sheets, which is where most of the tradies store their materials and the cost of the materials and their labor rates and things like that. If they don't, we just need to set that up so the agent can work out the estimate to send to the client. And then some details about the business, okay? And then these are some details, formulas, right, that the AI agent will use to formulate the estimate, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to fill in the .env.local file, which is exactly the same as the .env example file that I just walked you through, but I'm going to put in all of my API keys, okay? Let's now also look at the setup file here where Codex has given us some instructions on how to go about setting up so that the system works, okay? So it's confirmed the tech stack, that's fine, okay? This is how it's going to work out the estimate, right? Now here's how it wants us to create the Google Sheet. So it wants a materials tab with these columns. This is just some example data, and then I want another tab for the labor rate card with these columns. And this is just, again, some example, and then another tab with quote settings and the columns. Now, we can make these manually, okay, and just give the Codex the sheet IDs, but I'm going to use the first approach and give Codex access to my Google account to go create these sheets on my behalf. And it's telling me how to do that, right? So go to google.cloud and then do all these things. So I'm going to go set that up, and then we'll come back and let Codex know that we've done those and just work forward from there, okay? Now, I'm sure you know how to set up an OpenAI API key, but just in case you don't, I will just show you what to do. So you log into your OpenAI account, okay? Browse to platform.openai.com. It'll bring you to the chat window. Go to your profile on the top right, okay? And click on your profile, and then go to user API keys at the top. Click on View Project API Keys on the right-hand side. On the top right, you'll see Create New Secret Key, and this is where you can create your key. So I'm just going to call this Tradie Agent, okay? I'm going to say Default Project, Create Secret Key, okay? That will bring up your key. You copy it with this button, and that's it, okay? You then go back and you paste that in to, your file inside of the Visual Studio, right? So you've got to go into your .env.local, and we've got OpenAI key, you just paste it in there, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and now do all of my keys and get my environment.local file ready. If you So that's what you have to do as well. Create a Twilio account, SendGrid account, a database account, and put all the keys in, okay? Okay, now I have added as much as I can in my environment local file, which is where all my API keys are, okay, for the database, for my email provider, and for Twilio, right? Exactly as what's been given to me in the example file. So just going to fill all the details in, okay? Now I'm following the setup file to set up my Google account. So I've gone to the console, okay? Now I'm just going to use an existing project. I can create a new project, like it says here, okay? But I'm just going to use an existing project for this video, and I'm just going to follow the instructions. So it's saying that I've got to go to the APIs and services and then go to library. Okay, so let me bring this down so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here we go. So here's APIs and services. I'm going to click on that, and then it's click on libraries. Okay, and then it said after that, go to APIs and services, credentials, create credentials, and a service account. So let me do that. Okay, so where are we? Create service account. I don't see that. Let me just push this back up. So, we need to do this. Enable these two, Google Sheets and Google Drive. So I'm just going to search for that. Google Sheets. Enable these APIs for my account. They're the Google Sheets. And that's Google Sheets API. I'm going to enable that. Okay. And the other one I want to do with the Google Drive API. So that's enabled. I'm going to go back to the library. I'm going to search for Google Drive. Google Drive API. I'm going to, yep, that's the one. And I'm going to enable that. So what else did it say? So I've enabled the two APIs. Now it's saying go to APIs and services, credentials, create credentials, and service account. So I'm going to come down here, and there's credentials on the left. Okay. And where are we? Create credentials. Now it's a service account. So I'm just following the instructions. Okay. Now, what's it saying after that? So service account, name it this, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put that in the name. Okay. And then I'm just going to give it a description. You can't see this, it's off screen. And I'm going to say create. So I'm going to hit the create button. Okay. Then it says open the services account, click on keys and add key. Okay, I've found my service account and I can see keys and I can see add key and I'm going to see create new key. So I can see JSON. Okay. I'm going to hit on create, right? It's saved to my computer and I'm guessing that's the downloads folder. Now it's saying from there, I've got to open up that file and grab these two things, which I'm going to do offline, and I'm going to store that in my .env local. So if I go to .env example, it's going to want those two things in here, and that's what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, so I have provided all the detail that I need to, so that this now should work, and I'm just going to say to Codex, I have entered in my Google credentials. I want you to test to make sure you can access my Google account and create the necessary Google Sheets. All right, so let's see if Codex can successfully access my Google account to create the sheets that we need to store the materials database and the rate card for the tradie that will be used to create the estimate based on the client's request. Okay, so Codex is not able to access my Google account to create the sheets that it needs. So what I've done, I'm still doing it, is I've just created a sheet and I am going to give access to Codex. And the way I'm going to do that is when I created the service account, Google gave me a specific email address to use, which is known as the service account. So I'm going to give access to the sheet to that particular service account. So I've just given access to this sheet as editor to that account that I created when I was setting up my Google console. Okay, that should work. So I'm now going to say to Codex, I have created a new sheet and I have given access to the service account. And this is the sheet ID. And I'm going to grab that. Hopefully this is correct. Just going to grab it from Google. Okay, let's see if we can access it. Okay, so we can see that it's now happy. It's got access. It's created all the tabs. Let me bring the sheet down. Yep, there it is there. So there's all the materials, the labor rate, quote settings, all the things that it needs. So great. So I don't need to play around with this anymore. In fact, I'll leave it open just in case. So that's working. So now it needs to go and build out all of the other details. Now, before it goes and does all this integration, I want it to provide me a way to test it. Okay, so let's just add a few things. Before integrating email and Twilio and PDF and the database, I want you to build a basic user interface that allows me to test the tool to make sure it correctly captures the details from the customer via a conversation and correctly returns a estimate just in the conversation. Okay, so before it kind of goes out and does all this work, I kind of just want to make sure the basics work just through a chat interface. Then once that's working and I'm happy with the way that it's capturing the details from the customer, sending the details to the AI to get back the details, using that to calculate the estimate. Once all that's working, then I will get it to integrate with SMS and email and all those kinds of things.